Oh, right, yeah. We did the Russell Brand. What is against like the information that they're gonna charge him criminally. Um, but yeah, this is I thought we'd do is well, I don't know if it's an apology really. It says Russell Brand's apology, but it's not really. It's just his breaks his silence, I guess. Of yeah, so I'm guessing he's gonna fight it. I've been watching John Wedger and Ron Swanson's things. Putting John Wedger, Russell Brand. You'll find the podcast. They are long though. They're like 2.5 hours, whatever, 3 hours. I really like John Wedger. I really like John Wedger, but he seems to just have it in for Russell Brand. Um, but he does say he said that in the last podcast about him that he's biased. He just never liked Russell Brand, and I think a lot of men are like that. A lot of men don't like Russell Brand, and I can't help but think it's because he's of how successful he's been with women. Well, up until this point. But yeah, John Wedger said in that if Russell, that's what I mean. He said if Russell's decent, he won't make the victims go through court proceedings. But I was thinking, well, one, they're not victims if they're lying, and if he's not guilty, why would he admit to it just to save them? Yeah. But if it turns out that he did it and he had the opportunity to not put them through court proceedings, then yeah, yeah, that kind of you should have just admitted it. Although I did hear one of the things, and it was a girl was sitting up in the bed, and Russell climbed on the bed and rammed his knob in her mouth. Now I thought that sounded a bit really. I mean, I'm not a sexual attacker, so I don't know how them things go really. But I did think, is that how you would do it? Right. But then John Wedger was like, well, that these victims would have had to have gone through quite a. There's even a term for it. So it, I think he said, sexual offences interview techniques. I think that's what it's called. But police that take these cases are specifically trained in talking to sexual victims. So he's like, the fact that he's gone through all of them and these people, these professionals. But then, like I say, if people got it in for you, which is kind of, I guess, Russell's defense, a bit like the Andrew Tate defense that the Matrix is against him. Um, but then John Wedger has a thing on that as well about Russell Brand, where he says, "What is Russell Brand really saying?" Because some people are saying this is a targeted thing to bring him down because of he's getting too close to the truth. But he's like, what really is he saying that other people aren't, or we haven't heard before? But yeah, well, that's John Wedger's thoughts. And I really like John Wedger, but I can't help. Well, I don't know. Let's not say my opinion until it actually comes, because I really don't know. I'm just kind of living in hope that Russell didn't do this, I think, because I like Russell. But yeah, if it turns out, I'm going to know what it was like to be a Bill Cosby fan in America now, if this turns out to be true. But yeah, let's see what Russell's got to say. Let's go.
I was a drug addict, a sex addict, and an imbecile. But what I never was a rapist. Just fine, okay? Hello. Firstly, thank you for these incredible and overwhelming messages of support. We're very fortunate in a way to live in a time where there's so little trust in the British government. We're very fortunate, I suppose, that this is happening at a time where we know that the law has become a kind of weapon to be used against people, institutions, and sometimes entire nations that will not accept and tolerate levels of corruption that are unprecedented. I'm speaking particularly to those of you that are watching this in the UK. How do you feel about your legal system right now? How do you feel about some of the high-profile cases that are not being pursued and prosecuted? How do you feel that the Southport murders were handled? How do you feel about the government of Keir Starmer? Now, that's just sort of general context. Me, I've always told you guys that when I was young and single, before I had my wife and family, who were just out of shot over there, my beautiful children, I was a fool, man. I was a fool before I lived in the light of the Lord. I was a drug addict, a sex addict, and an imbecile. But what I never was a rapist. I've never engaged in non-consensual activity. I pray that you can see that by looking in my eyes. I want to thank all of you for your continuing support. I want to let you know that our show will be on Rumble on Monday. Thanks for your support there. And of course, I'm now going to have the opportunity to defend these charges in court, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. In the meantime, you lot, stay free, and we will be continuing to discuss this matter. Praise the Lord. Nice one, mate.
West Ham.
Russell, what do you think about women?
Russell, what do you think about?
Yeah, I don't know whether I quite liked him. I don't know whether I like the how do you feel about your legals. Like, I don't like that asking us questions in something where it's about him being a rape. Like, I don't like that he kind of set the idea of the legal, and we know that legal system can be used as a weapon. Like, yeah. But then I also, even as well, to look into my eyes. I bet I know for a fact many women have heard that from Russell Brand. I've heard Russell Brand talk about his women getting women. So I say things that are facts. We are standing here in this bar. I am talking to you. Yeah, but that stare in the eyes. Yeah. But like he said, he's got his chance to fight in court. But I didn't quite like the the weaponizing of the legal system against figures like I say, like the Andrew Tate thing. But yeah, I do think that's a bit full of yourself because you think you're really that important that people have to bring you down. But like he said, he's got his right. I'm not an expert in. I'd like to see that statement analysis guy actually go through and see what. But yeah, I remember something he said about that about asking questions. But like his example was a sports person in America who got caught with using performance enhancing drugs, and he's like in his thing he was saying, well, if I'm taking these substances, someone must have supplied them to me. Who is this person that supplied them to me? Where was I getting them from? And it's like opening up you to answer questions. And he's like, but it backfired for him because the person who dealt them to him actually come forward and said, yeah, I sold them to you. So when he said, well, where is this person? If you can produce this person, I did it. Like it, yeah. And then the person got produced and he did it. So yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like the but I mean it. Russell is yeah, he's switched sides. I think in terms of the political spectrum, maybe. But I just like I say, it has to be serious enough that these people are willing to go through with it, unless it's just a concerted effort to take him out. But Yeah. Like I say, I don't watch Russell no more since he stopped being funny. To be honest, I didn't really need Russell to kind of, yeah. I just thought he was funny. Well, yeah, yeah. And so like he said, it might come back to bite him. Is that I remember him saying on his radio show that the trouble with being a drug addict is people can accuse you of things and you can't remember whether you did it or not. And straight away, his co-host said, "You idiot." And then Russell's like, "No, I remember everything," because he's literally just give people the opportunity to say anything they want because he can't remember. But yeah, yeah. Like he said, he's got his chance to fight it in court. He's going to fight it in court. Um, that's his right, and it is innocent until proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how this plays out. And I can't imagine either Russell doing a payout, but then he might just to get things off his back. But like I say, it's not a civil case; it's a criminal case. It's like he's going. It's not going to court to get a liability payment out of him. He's going to do time if he gets found guilty. Serious time. One of the charges is life in prison, 25 years with L plates. And the others are like 10, 15 years. The other charges on him, like he's got no real small charges against him. They're all pretty big boys. Even if he doesn't get the 25 to life one, he can still get 10, 15 years off the other one. And I don't think Russell would cope well. Maybe he will. No, he's got money. He can kind of pay people to look after him, I guess. But yeah, yeah. Let me know your thoughts. But yeah, that's the reaction. Sweet.